Hey man, so if you're on our email list, then I've been talking a little bit lately about power training and moving quickly. And the reason why I think this is an important topic, especially as we get over the age of 45 to 50-ish, as we start to get older, those fast twitch type 2 muscle fibers are one of the first things to go. And being able to hold on to your pop, being able to hold on to your spring, I think is one of the things that keeps you relatively young physically, if not chronologically. And if you ever take a look at some of our older folks, the more senior citizens in our population, many of them tend to move kind of slowly, and not in a I'm taking a leisurely pace and enjoying the trip and kind of stopping to smell the roses kind of slow. It's more of a I'm kind of treading knee deep through peanut butter kind of slow, and everything is hard and a lot of work to get from point A to point B. So the more you can keep those fast twitch muscle fibers, the more you can keep that pop, that explosiveness, that snap, the longer you're going to hold on to your youth. Now, the reality of it is that Father Time is undefeated and is going to win over all of us. We're all going to meet our end at some point. The question is, what do we do with the time that we have between right now in this moment and that one? And being able to hold on to your snap, being able to hold on to your pop is going to help you fill that time with so much more youth and vibrance and energy and just enjoyment, because there's going to be so much more that you can do. So how do we go about doing this? Well, for my money, probably the easiest way to do this, or the most accessible way, that is scalable and progressive and all the things that we want out of training, is probably kettlebell work. I think kettlebell work, from an accessibility standpoint, from an ease of learning standpoint, might be the best thing there is. Certainly you can do some of this work, you can do explosive work or fast movements with just your body weight. I mean, there's jumping, right? But there are pros and cons to all of those things. If you're looking at the scale, so to speak, you have at the top end of the scale in terms of effectiveness, you have Olympic lifting. Olympic lifters are hands down some of the baddest athletes on the planet, and you can Olympic lift long into your life if you do the proper mobility work and you maintain the right ranges of motion. The difficulty with that is the range of motion required to get into a full overhead squat position for the snatch, and in some cases the wrist flexibility to get into a good clean rack position. So there's some mobility issues there that sometimes get exposed, number one. Number two, there's also a high level of technique required. Then you drop down a notch, and I think this is where the kettlebell lives. Kettlebells are a whole lot easier to learn. They're a whole lot more forgiving on your joints. So from an accessibility standpoint, I think they're right there. The next one I think you could look at would be medicine balls. Medicine balls, they kind of make their living being or doing power exercises. They're there for you to throw and to slam and to move quickly. You don't throw a medicine ball slowly, because otherwise it just rolls away from you. You got to heave that thing. So that's another option. You just need to be careful with medicine ball work, because sometimes it can be a little bit uncontrolled and you can hurt yourself that way. And then last but not least, you have your body weight, things like jumping. The great thing about jumping is that It's available to everybody. There's no equipment needed. The downside to jumping is that you have to be able to land safely. So there's some mobility requirements with that as well to do it safely. So if you're not already doing some kind of speed or power work in your workouts, think about what we talked about here today and add them in, get them in, figure out a way to get it in there into your program a couple times a week. Your body and everything else will thank you for it.